Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I've got the most exciting announcement I could possibly make. This is something I've been waiting for many, many, many years. Today, I'm going to reveal to you, with permission from the Khafre Project team, their SAR scan data from directly under the Sphinx. What you're looking at right here is the body of the Sphinx within the Sphinx courtyard or enclosure, as it's called, and this is its body, and this is a tomographic line cutting directly through it, going over a kilometer deep into the ground. And today, Filippo, Armando, and Corrado from the Khafre Project have given me permission to release this scan for the very first time. So I'm about to show you what goes over 1 kilometer deep directly below the Sphinx. And the Khafre Project, as most of you know, were the ones who gave us recently these images from under the pyramids. This is the Khafre Pyramid, which they released on March 15th during their press conference, or actually they allowed me to release this image along with their entire uh, project abstract, which contained all the first images they showed of these discoveries. They later came out with this incredible image of all these pipes or shafts or tubes that are going down beneath the Khafre Pyramid. But we know they expanded out from just the Khafre Pyramid as well, and they've been showing us much more about the plateau. This was the original project abstract that they allowed me to release on March 15th. And just to give a quick recap, they had first done in 2022 the interior of the Great Pyramid. Then they showed some of these new scans of the Middle Pyramid, the Khafre Pyramid. And then they showed a few of these models they had built of that pyramid with the tubes going underneath it. One of the scans of the tubes or shafts themselves, the spiral pathways they seem to be seeing around all these tubes, the boxes they led to at the bottom. Everyone's seen these images at this point, but just to give a recap of what was going on, eventually I ended up releasing a long documentary with Armando and Filippo going over all this technology. So I don't have to touch on the technology anymore. I've actually defended it in several films that are now in this Khafre Project playlist I have up on my channel. And this was the original documentary I did with them both. It's called the Biondi Protocol. Then we did an interview also on Nicole Chicolo's channel. We had another one called A Menti Unveiled. I did my own basically description of everything that relates to all this. And the most recent was actually meeting with the Khafre Project in person a few weeks ago at the Cosmic Summit, the conference in North Carolina, which was their very first American press conference premiere. They gave a presentation at the conference, and then they did a press conference afterwards just for press, and they actually invited me up on stage. This was very exciting, my very first time on stage at a conference, and I got to answer some questions with them or be part of it. And at this conference, they released some more very big info, big disclosures about additional sites on the plateau. There is a conference they did in Malta about a week before that, and they released additional info there as well. So I'll show you a little of that before I show you the big reveal coming today. But it was really amazing to meet them all in person. We had an awesome weekend, so much fun, and got to discuss a lot of this more in depth. Whereas, beforehand we were just emailing and messaging. It was much more difficult, but we had a great time. We're good friends now. And one of the most exciting reveals was that Filippo Biondi, he said on stage that he was about 2 weeks away from submitting their scientific paper on all this for peer review. So that was, over 2 weeks ago. Now, basically right now, their paper is being submitted for peer review, the new one, because they already put one out in 2022, which introduced this technology. But I've been over all this in my films. You can go back and see that one. But their new paper is going to be addressing all of these new scans over the past year that have uncovered what's under the Khafre Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, and the Menkaure pyramid as well, even. So I asked Filippo if he had any images I could share before it comes out, kind of as a sneak preview. And he gave me a couple that I'm about to show you that are going to blow your mind. We're actually going to see directly beneath the Sphinx this time. We've seen a couple hints of it. For one thing, in their press conference, they released this image, which is a tomographic line cutting from the Khafre Pyramid straight over to the Sphinx. And this is the Sphinx right there. That's the Sphinx Temple and the Valley Temple. So the Sphinx Causeway is the road that connects the pyramid to the Sphinx. And they showed this cross section going straight down where they have these huge structures all along it, all along the length of it. But as I mentioned in some of my films, you can see that this image is cut off. It's not the full length of this line. It's right about cut off at what we call the Campbell's tomb, this structure right here. And I'll talk more about that tomb in a later video because we got a lot more information about that too. They showed some images of this shaft going down, and some of the ones near it also, we believe, connect over to it and connect into a ton of them that are in this southern mastaba field here. But you know, I said, wow, I can't wait to see the rest of this line because clearly they were showing they had done the entire length of this line, but they're only showing up to this portion. So what is under the Sphinx? That's what we were all wondering. When they presented in Malta, Filippo actually showed us this very exciting image. He didn't explain it much. He showed it again in North Carolina and didn't explain it much, but he just put it up there. So you can see he's showing a void within the body of the Great Sphinx. And this is one of the 6 or 7 doors we already know of on the Sphinx's body. There is one coming down in from the middle of the back. There's a hatch you can open up, and then it's a square shaft going down in. But this might be showing some of the area that's connected with that. There's more about that as well. Manu today told me he thought this was one of the most promising entrances on the Sphinx because some of the information we have about this tells us that there are chambers connected down at the bottom, but officially we're always told it's just accessing this fissure that runs through the Sphinx's body. So it's basically an access hatch to get in and look at all this stuff if we have to. But this image seems to show that there's a larger hollow literally inside the Sphinx's body itself. This is the image of it without being overlaid on the Sphinx. But this you can look up is, I believe this was Jay Anderson's or else Lex Levy's video. The two of them both filmed the Malta conference, and it's in there. It was in the North Carolina conference as well. But anyway, it was just kind of a sneak peek, and we got to see this, what was in the Sphinx's body. And they also showed us these 2 images, which gave an overview of the whole plateau. But this is just a model, of course. We see a box 80 by 80 meters under the Menkaure pyramid over here, just like the 2 that they showed under the Khafre pyramid. And there's a couple of these structures underneath the causeway, and they're showing another giant box, cubic structure with a shaft coming straight up directly under the Sphinx. So this is a better view of all of that. And they showed this one as well at the North Carolina conference. You can see this is huge, and these are not even to scale either. These are still kind of squashed in just to show you the entire image. But if they were to scale, these would be even deeper underground, actually, these cubes. So these images are amazing, of course. We're seeing a whole view of the plateau. We're seeing some of these shafts under the Great Pyramid as well. And they had never showed us what was underneath the Great Pyramid until just now. They had showed us what was inside the Great Pyramid first. Then they showed us all this information about the Khafre Pyramid and what was under it. And then they've been sharing more about what's under the Great Pyramid and now what's under the Menkaure Pyramid and now what's under the Sphinx. However, they have not ever shown the actual scans that they built this model from on the Sphinx end. We've never seen the scans of this cube down here, but today, now I'm going to show you. So this was one other image I had made using their causeway scan just to try and give a little more of an idea of what it actually looks like, all these structures along the causeway, but then it's cut off again before you get to the Sphinx. So we're going to show you today what's underneath the Sphinx itself. This is the tomographic line from above. This is the body of the Sphinx. It's facing east. And this is the wall of the enclosure coming over here. This is the enclosure. And then you can see the Sphinx causeway. This is the causeway that comes back up to the middle pyramid here. But that's the body of the Sphinx. Those are its front paws. There's the head. And this line's cutting straight through its body. So I'm going to reveal to the world for the very first time, with their permission, the actual scan. Here it is. All right. So you can see these are the scans on the bottom, 3 different versions of it. These are polarimetric Doppler tomography. I'm not sure what the difference between these are exactly, but they do have the height marked in meters. So you can see that directly underneath the Sphinx, down at about maybe 500 to 700 meters, you have this whole complex of massive chambers. I mean, that's like 200 meters between here, let's say. So this is the cube that we're seeing underneath the Great Sphinx, and it's about the same level as the cubes we're seeing under the pyramids. Absolutely amazing. You see it in all 3 of these tomographic images. And then you also see something down at the level of about this is about 1 kilometer to 1.2 kilometers. So this again is another maybe 200 meters. We're seeing a whole bunch more of these structures down here. So folks, this is the very first view we have ever gotten of a massive, massive chamber. Yeah, over 500 meters at least below the Sphinx, if that's 650 right there. So, I don't know. This has got to be, well over 100 meters tall, just this little section here. It's got to be almost 150 meters from here to here, let's say. Look at this. So I've got some close-ups of this. This is one of the images that's going to be in the new scientific paper that's coming out very soon. So this is a sneak peek. This has never been released to the world before. So let's look a little closer at these. You can see, you can obviously see this important structure right at that level, which is the cube that they were showing in this image here. This cube right there, that is actually what you're seeing at the halfway mark here. And then whatever this is literally over 1 kilometer underneath the ground. It's almost twice as deep as this. So what does that make this shaft at the top? It makes it absolutely enormous. And you see all kinds of stuff going on up here too. So here's a close-up of this other image where you can see as well. I'll just let you screenshot these if you want to take a look closer. But this one is particularly interesting. This is a close-up of the actual box, the cube, this first target area. They did a close-up and you can see, I mean, this is unbelievable. You can see all these little tunnels going every which way coming out. If these are actually hollows, every single one of these, this is a massive, I mean, it looks like this entire cube is actually, I don't know, maybe not hollow, but full of many floors of, space that could be used or occupied. I'm not sure exactly, but we're seeing something massive down there. And I think what you're seeing from this angle is basically like this is a front corner edge, and then you have, this one face of the cube basically right here, and then another side of it right here. So you are seeing the shape of the cube, which again is 80 by 80 meters, they've said. And then this image is the lower down area where we have some massive chambers as well at the 1.1 to 1.2 kilometer depth. So obviously this is blown up quite a bit from the original image. It's not super high resolution, but this is something we're going to have to see in more and more clarity as we move along. And I don't know, it looks to me like you can see all kinds of these, horizontal bands going across. These could all be representing different tunnels coming out of the structure at that level. A whole, I don't know, a whole complex down below 1 kilometer. Now we know that this level in general, the 1 to 1.2 kilometer level, they have shown in many other images are actually there are entire grids of 90-degree angles. The what looks like basically a street map, like you're looking at streets all lined up with buildings on it, which is why they called it a city potentially, because all these 90-degree and perfectly straight lines, that's not something natural. It's very clearly grid work of some kind, which means it must be man-made. And all of that across the whole plateau is at this 1 to 1.2 kilometer level. It's at the 600 level about that you have all these cubes, but then you go down about twice as far and you get to this secret city level. But I've got a couple other close-ups on this just to look at it a little deeper. This again is coming down to the cube there. You can get screenshots of these, take a look. Here's a closer view of that one. Here's a good one again. So how massive is this shaft? This looks bigger than the ones, honestly, that we're going down below the Khafre Pyramid. I'm not sure exactly how wide this one is. Hopefully we can ask Filippo that next time we talk to him. I did actually just do another interview with Filippo and our friend Chris Leto, who was the former F-16 pilot with radar experience, who was making some videos about the Khafre project, and we ended up getting in touch. I did an interview with him like a month ago, which was supposed to have Filippo, but we had a scheduling conflict, and we finally did get Filippo on last week. We recorded it, so that's another one coming out soon. But I'm gonna have to go over some of this with Filippo and Armando soon and talk about the exact details. But I'm also not sure if this is east going to west or if it's west going to east. But I'm pretty sure based on the image, the line they showed cutting through the Sphinx, I think this is the west coming to the east. And so this is kind of jutting out towards the front pods rather than the back hind area. But I'm not totally sure on that, so I won't say. This is the third one, or yeah, the third one. So yeah, you can just take a look at this yourself. I'm not going to jump too deep into the interpretations of it all. I just wanted to share this because this is such huge news. I've been actually overwhelmed by the amount of new information coming in right now. We have so much corroborating evidence and it's flooding in. And I've been trying to keep up and make videos about it, but it's coming in faster than I can make videos. But this is the absolute holy grail. This is what I've been waiting for forever. This is what a lot of us had really wanted to see was the actual scan data directly beneath the Sphinx. So I can't express how excited I am to share this with you. All of this stuff, um, this close up, all these little corridors going off in every direction that we're just getting the first views of. How much more of this are we going to see very soon? How long is it going to take before we are literally inside this cube under the Sphinx, showing the world what's there? Is this entire huge 80 by 80 meter cube full of records of reliefs carved on the wall, of technology, of artifacts? We have no idea. This is the most exciting thing that could possibly happen. I sometimes have trouble expressing exactly how incredible this is because I want the world to really understand it from my perspective as someone who has studied this for 20 years now. I've been waiting for the day when this scan would come forward. We've got several remote sensing technologies that have shown us different views of the Sphinx at times, or right around it, or a few meters down, but we have never seen anything like this. So it's truly an honor to release this image. This is going to be in their new report coming out very soon. Not sure exactly how long it's going to take for the peer review process, but Filippo did say, actually, he said just only a week ago about that it was still a week away. And he told me months ago, look towards the end of June into July for the paper's release. So he's right on schedule. And this is one of the amazing highlights we're going to get. They are showing us the proof of massive chambers directly underneath the Sphinx. And that's not all. I've got other evidence has come forward that actually corresponds to the Sphinx Causeway. I'm going to share so much about that soon. That is all cross corroborating, all cross referencing one another. We have more GPR scans from Bill Brown that I'm going to release in the coming parts of The Secret Underworld of Giza, the series I've been doing with him and with Richard Gabriel. We're going to show you many confirmations of the Khafre Project's SAR scans with our GPR scans that we have from Bill from the National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics and from the University of Wrocław in Poland. It's incredible. That's not to mention everything going on with Hawara right now, which we're also going to cover very soon. Bill and I are actually going to have a talk with Louis Decordier in 2 days' time, and we're going to let you know what's up with these new scans that just came out about Hawara from Merlin Burrows. This is also huge news. And I can tell you that I spoke with the Khafre Project at this conference about Hawara as well. They're very interested in helping us with that. And not to get ahead of myself, but we are also asking some of the teams that have scanned Hawara in the past from satellite-based technology if they can potentially scan the Giza Plateau as well. So we're going to get some second opinions from other deep geoscan teams, professional companies that have done this for decades, going very deep underground, down to 6 kilometers, for instance, Geoscan says they can do. And some of these companies can even detect the different elements or the different materials that are down there, not just the density level, but they have a specific library of signatures that they can compare to specific materials. So one of the exciting things in Hawara was the Merlin Burrows scan showed us an immense freestanding metallic object inside a huge hall in the center of Hawara. So this is all going to be coming together soon. Anyway, this is the big reveal today. We've got scans directly beneath the Sphinx going over 1 kilometer deep. Now, I'll show you one other image that Filippo also let me reveal from the coming scientific paper. And this is an image from below the pyramid of Menkaure. All right, this is also a world first reveal, never been shown to the public. This is a tomographic line through the Menkaure pyramid, the smallest of the three. And you see as well, as they have described and shown in their models at least, a huge central shaft there, or maybe this is a few right in behind each other, or something like that. But I'm not sure if that's just one big one. They showed it as 4 separate, so maybe this is 1, 2, 3, and a fourth behind it. Filippo was also talking about, he finally was asked the question at the conference about the water table. I mean, they've been asked about that a lot, and this keeps coming up over and over again. People say, "Oh, this stuff couldn't exist because it's all below the water table." And first of all, my answer to that is always just first of all, like they were capable of moving water, of managing it basically. And if you've got structures that are over a kilometer deep, you can obviously drain water pretty easily as well. We've also heard legends and stories of areas where the Nile is running underground, tributaries of it at least. So you could divert water out to where it would flood out to the Mediterranean even, potentially. I mean, we have no idea. And we really have no idea about the water levels on the plateau. There was one study done on it a few years ago. I'll try and link in the description here. And it showed, tests at a few different locations around the plateau. But other than that, everyone's just saying the water table is at 100 feet about because that's where we find it at the Osiris shaft, right in the middle. But that means nothing. The plateau is riddled with, it's like Swiss cheese. It's got so many pockets. It's porous. The water level could be different. 10 feet away from where it is here, it could be drained out over there. So we really have very few points of context for the water table on the plateau, and we certainly can't say it's consistent across the whole thing. There are aquifers mixed in with dry chambers, I believe, all throughout it. And obviously, the Egyptians were masters at diverting it. They could have put it wherever they want it and kept it away from where they wanted to keep chambers dry. So it's just not an excuse at all to say, oh, but it would all be under the water table. Besides, maybe it's all is under the water table and meant to function that way. In fact, Filippo said that this difference in the vibrations you're seeing at this level here may be showing the water table. It's possible that all this section is below it, and that's the reason for the difference in the vibrations you see here, the difference of colorations. You see it kind of all changes, it's sensed differently. So maybe it is water. Maybe these are submerged under this level, and maybe that's part of how it's supposed to work. That's not to mention, go look at the Osirian at Abydos, and you'll see that the Egyptians somehow were capable of actually doing construction deep below the water table, because that one's been under the water table this whole time. In fact, it's designed to work with the water that fills in. It's at least, I think it's been confirmed, at least 22 meters deep down the water goes. There are constructions that deep under the water. So, yeah, it's not an issue. But I'll speak to that more and show some of that report at some point. Anyway, this is the second image that they allowed me to show from the coming scientific paper they're about to put out. I got to see some of it on Filippo's laptop at the conference, which was very exciting. And I had to ask him, can we get at a little bit more? And he's allowed me to share this new image of the Sphinx and the Menkaure pyramid. So I really hope you enjoy this, folks. Have a look at it. And we're going to get deep into how this connects to everything else we've been working on very soon. So this is just a quick video to get at this amazing new information, add it to the larger case we've got going on. So I thank the Khafre Project so much for letting me release this. It's the most exciting thing I've ever seen. I'm dying to see more, and I'll bring it to you as I've got it. So thanks for watching.